Well, it's time to further let you in on a little secret here, Pentagon, and kind of get you up to speed on how this information comes about. And it just streamed, like I told you, had the heads up display. Well, and then I had that patent. But just to kind of give you an idea where I get all of this information, which apparently that's illegal or something. And the other secret is, raw. Raw dogged them. So, I don't know, like I said, the little buddies came down from Orion's belt there, gave me some stuff when I was a kid, those migraines. Apparently that's illegal. Hell, I didn't know. Well, I wouldn't have had, if it's out of your power to do anything about it, well, did you really commit a crime? No. Technically, I haven't, and officially, I haven't committed any crimes. Now, my migraines might have set all of you up. That's because you illegally hacked my mind and attached me to your mind hives. Again, I haven't committed any crimes. And hell, I don't even think the migraines committed a crime because you hacked us. You see how that works? So probably shouldn't have hacked my mind's the moral to the story, and I keep saying that. But like the Helium 3, right? Right, the Helium 3 on the moon. Like, how did you get this? How do you just come up with these perfect, and it works in every dimension every time? How are you doing this? Well, in my heads-up display, when I did that college paper in the sales class there, which seemed to have been a big deal, it's on NASA's wall to the T, and I emailed it to NASA, by the way, and I never heard back from them. Maybe I did hear back from them. So I got a little gray alien looking buddy kind of up there by the moon, just kind of, floating in space next to it. He's about half as big as the moon, and he's just sitting next to the moon. And then he'll move over to the sun, and he's showing me, he's like, photons or something, or energies, right? It's energies just coming off the sun, and it's landing on the moon. And then he'll be up in there showing me, he's like, there's no atmosphere on the moon like there is Earth. No atmosphere. So he's showing all of this in my heads-up display, and then he'll show the rays and the energy. I can't think of the word, but basically the photons. It's what creates the Helium-3, right? This is how simple it is. And then you get on Google and you can just copy and paste and put it all together. You don't have to be a fucking rocket science to be a prophet when you got the prophet technology right there in your heads-up display, and all you got to do is go to the bank over there, which is Google, and pull the rest of the story out and make it look good, and then it always works every fucking time. But what put the idea in my head was that depiction of E.T. He's just sitting there like pointing. Imagine E.T. just kind of like, moon. He's pointing at the moon, and then he's showing me the photons coming off the sun and how they wrap around the moon all over the surface of the moon. You could go mine Helium-3 off the moon, and you'd have energy independence forever. Kind of like what Elon Musk and Lockheed Martin's really doing right now. Yeah, they didn't go tap that asteroid the other day, probably. They went into the moon and took some samples to see if they can get a proof of concept here for this cold fusion project. So that's what they're really up to. But, yeah, if that's illegal, and I know you waterboarded me because y'all are basically got this little Men in Black, whatever you got. You waterboarded me with your electromagnetic technology. I pointed that out. Yeah, that's illegal. See, me and my little buddy here, or my buddy and I, that came from Orion, we never had any problems with each other. We just was down on the bio minding our own fucking business. And then you decided to waterboard me, and y'all decided to use me to set up Dan Patrick. After you used me to set up Dan Patrick, you decided to waterboard me. But what I'm trying to figure out here, are you trying to say that I'm like an illegal alien or something because I'm a prophet? Let's see how fucked y'all are? Raw. By the way, yeah, that migraines that I had, remember Buck and Adeline's Field? Well, that all started then, okay. So this all happened when I was 12. So if I'm an illegal alien, then you didn't protect me when I was 12 years old from aliens. And then you came back at a later date and then you tried to assassinate me after using me to set up Dan Patrick with your illegal waterboarding technology. Yeah, that's what y'all did. And that's why you've got all these headaches right now, because the aliens are all over the sky, right? That light in the air, it's everywhere, okay? It can be in your head just like that. And your electromagnetic technology that tortured me, which, these new satellites you're putting into space, I'm not saying that's Elon. I know that's not Elon. That's Muskrat Love's the one telling what's real. See, Elon has the same thing going on that I do. We don't need satellites, okay, Pentagon? Literally, we don't need satellites. We don't need technology, right, for all of this to work. What Elon did was put all of that together to expose all of you for your crimes against humanity. And it worked to perfection. What you're going to want to do here, Dan Patrick, is get with the Texas oil companies. I think they're a little bit small. They're big oil companies, but get with all of them, okay, and have them invest up front. Get invested in the Helium-3 project. Get all of the oil companies to invest in Elon Musk. Oil's not going anywhere, but it'll be here. I mean, Helium-3 will be here before you know it. The oil companies invest. It's just energy. That's what you are, oil companies. You're an energy company. You just happen to have oil right now. Invest your money into another energy, which is help Elon Musk get to the moon and pull the Helium-3 back down here to Earth. Because oil's not going to, we're going to sell all that Texas oil before in the next 100 years, because you got to have oil for other things than gasoline engines. Oil is important for all kinds of chemicals and plastics and things of that nature. You didn't build 500 shore tanks on the Gulf of Mexico for nothing, and you didn't just build 5 pipelines out of the Permian Basin, right? Take the oil people's money, have them invest in something that's going to make them even richer than oil will in the future. That way you don't have anybody butting heads down here in Texas in a war, which is going to happen if you don't do this. So you'll have big oil doing their thing. They're going to be comfortable knowing that they've got a whole lot of stake in Elon going and getting that Helium-3 off of the moon, which will, create dividends over the next 10,000 years. I mean, they're going to make a lot of money off of it, okay? So what that does with the four-rest gangster umpire here, that just basically brought everybody to the table and said, hey, what's the big deal here? I mean, Elon needs money to go get the shit. Why don't you just invest in it, and then it's a win-win for the oil companies, and you'll still get your oil out of the ground over just a longer extended period of time, because you're going to have to suck that oil out forever for all of the other products that you're going to make forever. Okay? So stop overthinking this shit, okay, people? Oh, and Lockheed can build the damn equipment that gets that's what they do. That's their thing. They're really good at building equipment that would extract the Helium-3 from the moon. Elon will get you there. Lockheed will extract it and maybe even do some ground operations or something. The oil companies invest in it. Now you have Lockheed Martin's happy. So you got all of these people moving to Texas right now, including probably Lockheed Martin's entire corporation. So Lockheed Martin's happy, SpaceX is happy, and the oil companies are happy, all down here in the Fourth Kingdom or the great state of Texas. Well, Pentagon, Little Horn sends his regards. We're not going to call it a kingdom down here in Texas, though. We're going to call it a King Smart Lieutenant Dan ice cream. Well, I offered the Pentagon to get a little stake here in Texas by moving that mini-me Pentagon down here, and we secede. And we'll funnel all of our money to the Pentagon. It won't even budge your budget. I mean, your budget will be good, right? All the other people that you're tired of dealing with, well, you'll just be able to sort that out the right way, the military way, and then get actual elected officials in office that actually are capable of being representing their constituents like they should, which they're not. They're all controlled by the media, and you know that. So what I was going to get at there is, if Lieutenant Dan Patrick, we can't get that negotiated with the Pentagon, what we'll want to do is have the oil companies go ahead and start financing the Mexican cartels, just as a little bit of a backstop there. I think I know why the Republicans potentially, I'm not 100% sure about this, but I could see, torturing me was that's just inhumane and really wrong thing to do to somebody. But when they found out that who I was, and I was the oracle that, a lot of these different entities had been, plucking information out of my mind for a long time for their own political bidding. Well, they probably had me waterboarded to extract information from me so that they could opposition research, know what's going on. See, what happened, y'all both got caught in an opposition research trap. But what I don't think the Republicans understood was the Democrats had been doing in my head for a long time and just listening to everything that goes through my mind. And they use that to their advantage over the years. So this might have pissed off the Republicans who are deeply, rooted in there with the oil companies, and they probably wanted to find out what I know and everything. Well, that's why I was really unhappy with all of you, because I was connected to all of your hubs while I was sitting there being tortured while you extracted information from me in order to obtain Raw's playbook, which is basically what's going on here. Raw Jesus, a little Luciferian Jesus kind of going on there. Raw, he gets all good. I'm pretty sure Raw wrote the Bible, to be honest with you. So, the pyramids were around before all of that, and so I've been over all of that. But what I'm getting at here, Pentagon, is, these politicians, they were blinded by the light is what it was, and they all got nervous because they're all attached to these different systems that wanted to duke it out. And whenever the system realizes somebody just stepped all over all their systems, well, it probably made them nervous enough to come down here and find out what they're fucking dealing with. Well, you found out. There ain't nothing you can do about it, because we got a whole Texas Army down here. And hell, I think I even got people at the Pentagon listening to me going, this son of a gun around here, he makes more sense than the rest of these fucking idiots. I'll tell you that much. Well, I'm not an idiot, though. I mean, I might be brave, but I'm not stupid. So I was going to try to work you in on this deal down here with that mini-me Pentagon, where you basically end up streamlining Washington the way that it should be there, Pentagon, with the Constitution in place and politicians like we got. But instead of them being completely bought and paid for AI-driven drones, you can put people in that are actually going to represent their constituents, while Texas becomes the next Saudi Arabia, was what I was shooting for this entire time, because I just don't trust y'all's work ethic up there, and I know you're all a bunch of demons, and I don't want to have to fucking live under your tyrannical dictatorship anymore, to be quite honest with you. So, yeah, I put a little playbook together to check y'all's pulse and maybe even set y'all straight. Blinded by the light, wrapped up like a deuce, another joker in the night. Well, see, exactly, they're jokers, and it was two of them. They got blinded by the light. Oh, and it's always multi-dimensional with Raw. He's showing the sun, S-O-N, not S-U-N. So the sun always represents like Jesus, right? So the sun's rays, or Raw, would be shining, casting down onto the moon. So what's the best disinfectant? Sunlight. You could kind of go with that one, but the sun, or Jesus who walked all over the water, was the one that pointed out they were pegging oil to Bitcoin with the Sovereign 5 IET, or Soviet supermodel who was in Hustler magazine, was pegging oil to President Trump's ass. Well, the sun actually shed light on that moon. In the Bible, there's a verse, I don't know which one it is, but I've read it, and it said, we finally stumbled over the stumbling stone. What happened here, Pentagon, and especially the chaplains there, don't exploit the chaplains. But what happened is, they knew I had a spiritual connection my entire life because they watch everything we do. They've been NSA and all of them's been at it for years. Well, I'm not blaming the NSA here, but I will blame the technocratic elite, right? Well, they exploited my spiritual connection all of these years. And they thought that they'd got away with basically, some people, had I not been hacked by the Antichrist, who knows what the outcome would have been, right? Which the Antichrist is the artificial intelligence that they hacked me with. And then they, and Dr. Evil and Mini-Me, that's like God and then Mini-Me, right? That's what the technocratic elite tried to run with, was making the guy with the spiritual connection evil, even though he wasn't. But that's fine. I had backup, if you haven't noticed. So all the under-truthing algorithms that were put into their own system set all of them up. And that's because you're not going to beat the original system. And that's the story that could be told very easily here, Pentagon and chaplains there in the military, because all of this just adds up and makes way too much sense. And there's people holding on to this story, which is unbelievable. So if you want to be remembered as the group of people, the scientific elite and all of them who's involved in that, and probably a whole lot of people at the Pentagon, in the CIA and the different agencies in the country, maybe even the FBI, I mean, y'all are all freaking AI-driven drones from what best I can tell at this point, okay? It's real scary sometimes. But you can be remembered by everybody as the entities who tried to turn the spiritual one from with the cosmic connection, those migraines, into a demon when this is all over with, using your Antichrist artificial intelligence. Hell, I figure that's the quickest way to kill all of you, to be honest with you. Remember that time in the Army when I took that ASVAB test and my visual acuity, my visual spatial acuity was off of the charts? Well, there was a good reason for that. I might have had a little cheater pipe in my head. But what I wanted to get at there, DIA, who's using that Mars system, I'm pretty sure you linked me up to that too so I could train it. Yeah, y'all owe me money. Oh, and by the way, SEC, Raw won't let me cheat on the reason Raw picked me, I think, was because of my visual spatial acuity. It's just unimaginable. But he won't let me cheat on the stock market whenever I'm looking at those trends and that natural gas. You see how the underlying thing was there that caught y'all, just makes y'all look stupid in the end, like unbelievably stupid. Really, I mean, you look like total fools right now. But the natural gas was the trend that I figured out that I was making a whole lot of money off of down there on the bio. Well, I can't use my cheater pipe on that. That was just natural, was the underlying message there. But even if I did use my cheater pipe, SEC, really doesn't matter now, does it? Because I proved that y'all are using artificial intelligence to rig the stock market. The CIA didn't like that last clip for some reason. You know the CIA uses Stanley Sporkin as their criminal defense. I just gleeked, that's that snake venom. But, well, what I wanted to point out about him is his last name, Spork. That's like a fork and a spoon, right? Just a dual purpose utensil there. Hey, DARPA, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but up here in my top right of my heads-up display, whenever I'm watching somebody, you know how some of these hacks just come in momentarily? Well, sometimes when it lets me know to really pay attention to what they're about to say, because if it might say, you know, DARPA, it'll be like DARPA's funneling in, DARPA. You know, I get a little DARPA light up there, or a little China light sometimes, and even sometimes a little Russia light. But Russia's not even in the equation here. I mean, that whole thing's really cooked up too, because if you take Russia and you spin it around backwards, it's AI Secret Service UR, right? That was the reason we went with Russia. Just when it was all over, we could ram it that much farther up your ass. That other technologies here is learned based off of what happens in my HUD, and we set up that language on my body. So now I've got a duplicate indicator. So I got a thump on my body, like I had that staph infection on my knee. So like the other day when I was watching Lindsey Graham, it was thumping staph infection, which means he's hacked by somebody that he shouldn't be. So so I get those too, and it's cool because now they've learned how to work together, and you've almost got an entire system here, like Raytheon. Remember the Hulk? Yeah, that's what that's all about. Watch that movie Raytheon. But what none of these people who's in the mind hacking business realized was those migraines are actually extraterrestrial, and I've had that my entire life. Y'all figured that out now? You know, by the way, Ronald Reagan, he was a DARPA plant, believe it or not. They went with the R, just like I would have. I would have picked an RR too. If you want to railroad somebody, you go with the Ronald Reagan so you can railroad them. Just remember that soccer team I played for, the Cosmos, when I was a child. I played sweeper, and Kazim the Dream Hamidian was from Iran or Iran-Contra, and he was the public waterworks director. And well, what Raw did here, because obviously they want to destroy the Illuminati. I don't. Your own God wants to destroy you. So what he did is he led me to the. He don't want to actually destroy the Illuminati, just cleaning house, playing sweeper for the cosmos. So what he did, your own God, there, Illuminati, is he sent me here, right? Or he contacted me when I was a child. We played sweeper for the cosmos, okay? And then what he wanted me to do was tag team up with DARPA so that I could get their system up to speed. See, that was our plan. We didn't plan on being hacked and waterboarded by, well, we've seen that coming too. It's all in the water. Of course, there's that time machine, and that's where it gets real complex. But what Raw wanted to tell all of you is we're just cleaning house mostly. Don't shoot the messenger. Raw wanted me to point that out. And you might remember in the Bible that little horn blasphemies the Most High. Well, the Most High isn't the Lord, because the Lord's always referred to as Lord. So, yeah, we've been doing that. We've been blaspheming the Most High. But like I said, I'm the messenger, so I wouldn't shoot me, because you're shooting your God's messenger if you do that. School for kids who can't read good. A school for stupid, retarded ants. Zoolander. So, I've always said my whole life, an old phrase of mine is, man, he's got money coming out the wazoo. Wall always means Washington whenever you see wazoo or something like that. So it's always Washington. I think that makes you the butthole that gets shaved. I tried to tell you, you just pay me $500 million. In that way, Texas won't have to plunder you and, rape and pillage all of you before it's all said and done with. Hey, AI, Light in the Air, and I wanted to tell you something. Whenever we was talking about that medication, Fug It All, that I was talking about, well, we weren't talking about my emotional status as to saying Fug It All. What that truly meant was fuck it all. I wouldn't have that that sense of fuck it all if Texas wasn't posturing so well right now. I figure people, not the citizens of America, see, that's where I'm kind of, I got a conflict with trying to destroy you mind-hacking pieces of shit. Is, as easily as I could do it, it's just really hard that, I'd have to hurt all them good American people there. But you know what? I'm pretty fucking savvy.